y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Chrissy T. I'm back with the recap review of Love and Marriage Huntsville season 6 episode 27 and counting. We still have more and more episodes to go, and quite frankly, I'm sick of this cast. I'm sick of it. We can do without Stormi and Courtney. Okay, we can do without Maurice and Kimmi, but I would like to still see Marceau and Tish, because I want to know what's really going on in this marriage. Is he really sleeping or has cheated with multiple women, and Tish continues to sweep it under the rug? I would like to see more of their relationship really come to the forefront. Melody, we've seen, what happened and the aftermath of your divorce from Martell. We've seen you glow up. We've seen you become this big boss. I think you would just need your spinoff. And the Fletchers, I love them. I think they should be on this show as a full-time cast and not friends of the show. They can honestly replace the Scotts. And I'm referring to Kimmi and Maurice. But like I said before, I would like to see more of Tisha and Marceau. Because with Kimmi and Maurice, their storyline has come so predictable and redundant. I'm tired of hearing about his lack of support from Kimmi. I'm tired of hearing about her libido. I'm tired of him complaining about the lack of intimacy. I'm tired. And honestly, I would like to see more of Kiki and her husband. So let me get on to the episode. The beginning of the episode starts with Kimmi and Maurice, of course. Okay, Kimmi is upset because the new office space that they have is still under construction and has been for the past 8 months with little to no progress, despite paying Micah, who is Maurice's brother. Okay, and she's also expecting Maurice to help out, and he hasn't. So she goes on to say that being married to Maurice doesn't have its perks as she anticipated. Okay, because she needs help with this office space, and Maurice ain't doing the job. She said prior to marriage, he led her on to believe that he was his handyman, but post-marriage, that ain't the case. She says she has to ask him 10 times to do something before it's actually done. And Maurice said that, he's a big time lawyer. I ain't got time for this. I got real work to do. And Maurice, if you did things without her having to ask, first of all, and secondly, without her having to ask 10 times, I promise you her libido would go up. You're not fulfilling your husband duties, so therefore she ain't fulfilling hers. That's just my opinion. She's doing everything she can to get this libido up, but you're not even helping her around with the office space or whatever she needs done. You can't do that. But she goes out of her way to satisfy your needs, and you can't even meet half of hers. So then Kiki then shares with Maurice that Tish took a pregnancy test when they went to go get this vaginal steam, whatever it's called, despite Marceau having a vasectomy. So Maurice was like, well, damn. Marceau had a vasectomy years ago. So if she was going to get pregnant, it would have happened soon enough, okay? Not years later. And I don't think it was Kimmy's place to reveal that to Maurice, because if Tish did have a sneaky link, which we know she didn't, and we know this is a fake storyline, the cat would have been out the bag. So yeah, I don't think it was your place to tell your husband that. So in the next scene, we have Stormi and Tish. So Stormi meets up with Tish and hopes that she and Kiki can resolve their conflict, because she's saying that she knows what it's like to have a family that's in conflict. So how about you focus on your mother and your aunt, try to resolve their conflict, deal with what's going on in your household before you try to fix what's going on in another person's household. So Tish pretty much shut that idea down and basically said that their relationship is at a point of no return. Tish says Stormi should understand, again, because she's been in that situation dealing with the person on substance abuse. And sometimes you have to take a step back. So Stormi, she was feeling some type of way because she said the situation is different because Kiki is not currently using. Tish said Kiki is still using, despite not seeing her actually take a pill. But her behavior speaks for itself, is pretty much what she's saying. And it shows that she's still using. Tish, it's very unfair to be on TV saying that you are 100% certain that your cousin Kiki is using substance abuse and you don't have any concrete proof. You are damaging her reputation. Okay, you're not only damaging her personal reputation, but you're handling her professional reputation as well. This could hurt potential job opportunities. Okay, so I think Kiki should take legal action because you're tarnishing her reputation on TV. And the impact of these false allegations can have some long-lasting consequences. So yes, she should take legal action because you don't have any concrete evidence that she's currently using. And I think that's very unfair. And what's going to happen when her kids watch this episode and see that their cousin is making these false allegations against their mother? That's going to harm them too, but you're not thinking about that. So they left that conversation alone because Stormi kind of got triggered a little bit. And she goes on to ask Tish how was her trip to Vegas and if Marceau went with her. Tish was very fidgety in this scene, okay, after Stormi asked that question. She was playing with her watch, her bracelet, fidgeting with her clothes. She was definitely showing signs of anxiety because she didn't like that question. And Stormi insinuated that, well, Tish told her that Marceau didn't go with her to Vegas, and instead he went to a bachelor party, I think, in Colombia. And Stormi kind of insinuated that Colombia is a brothel capital. That's where the whores and prostitutes are. So she kind of insinuated something. And I don't, like, Stormi, come on, girl. Like, come on. But I guess it's fair game. She's accusing Kiki of using. So now she's accusing your husband of going to Colombia and getting a slinky link. This is an example of falsely accusing someone. So now you don't like it. It looks like Tish got a taste of her own medicine. So then moving on, Stormi then brings the Canvas Beauty website and how her shipping policy was copied and pasted on Tish's website for her daughter's hair care line. Now, in this scene, Tish blamed everyone except herself. She blamed the assistant. She blamed the website designer. She blamed the team. And damn it, she even blamed the kids. Actually, she didn't blame the kids, but hell, she might as well. So she had taken no accountability in what happened at all because it is her website. I don't give a damn who did it. It's your website. Where is the accountability? Stormi asked her, was she at least going to apologize for what happened? Because not only did Tish receive backlash, Stormi also received backlash. And Tish said she don't think she deserved to apologize to her. Instead, the apology should come from her web designer. Tish, this was your one chance to be an adult and businesswoman and take accountability. And you didn't. Therefore, people can't take you serious as a businesswoman because one of the things that you must have as a businesswoman is leadership and taking ownership and ethical conduct. That copy and pasting without asking, that's unethical. Okay, that not taking accountability, that's not being a businesswoman. And Stormi said that, the copy and paste scandal overshadowed the girls launching their hair care line. And Tish said, no, because they got a lot of sales. Missing the point still. So finally, after pulling teeth, Tish half-ass apologized. And as a businesswoman, it was your job to make sure that your website is up to par. You should always double check. And then for you to say that you don't think you owe Stormi an apology, instead it should come from your website designer, that was very telling. And just like your husband told you episodes ago, you have a problem with accountability. So hopefully you watch this episode and you begin to see yourself. Tish, I like you, but this wasn't a good look at all. Okay? It just screamed, I can't take accountability. Everybody's wrong, but not me. So in the next scene, we see Chris and Nell. And Nell, I love your natural hair. Okay. But she was fighting with her hair in the scene. For some reason, that little first curl in the front didn't want to stay there. So she had to keep pushing it back. But I love your natural hair. Love it. So Chris Sr. meets up with Nell, and they talk about Chris Jr. stopping by the office. And she kind of chuckled because he ain't returning her phone calls nor coming around, despite the fact that he owes her money. But yet he goes to visit his dad at the office. So Chris is explaining to Nell that their son needs help. Okay. She says that the help he needs is to get up off his grown ass and make some adult decisions. But that's not what Chris was talking about. And I also get where Nell is coming from as a mother. I have a son, and the only time I heard from him is when he wanted money and needed to move back in. I was paying everything, including his car insurance. I was doing everything, and I pretty much enabled him. And it did more harm than good because it created a irresponsible behavior and a financial dependence on me. So there's a difference between enabling your son and being supportive. So in this instance, Chris Sr. is talking about her being more supportive. It ain't about the money. Okay. It ain't about the dogs. It is about him dealing with depression and not being able to come to his family for refuge, and instead being met with judgment and criticism. So as the conversation went on and Chris Sr. began to explain to her, just how depressed he is, Nell finally understands that the support that he needs go far beyond financial needs. And I hope that this family gets counseling or therapy, and I hope they do it individually first, then come together as a family and have that counseling. So Chris Jr., we wish you and your family the best. And Nell also said that she could forget about the money. The most important thing is her son's mental strength. It ain't even about the money at this point. So I'm glad she did acknowledge that the money is not important. Forget about all that. She's more focused on him getting the mental help that he needs. So now we get to Kimmy, Tish, and Melody. Kimmy invited the girls out for a pedicure. I wish the ladies of Potomac would take a page out of this book because everyone is trying to get along, okay? And the girls of Potomac, it's like a clique. They're all separated. No one wants to see that. We want to see y'all get along. It's hard watching a reality show where nobody gets along and it's like different cliques. They can't be in the same space together. Some people refusing to film with this person. It's ridiculous and very childish. You guys should be able to come together and work it out. Y'all ain't got to be best friends, but at least get along. That's all we asking for. So Mel comes in and she greets everyone, and Kimmy tried to come for Mel early. Let her sit down first. Let her get some water. But she came for her early. She didn't even get a chance to sit down good. So they're asking each other how everyone was doing. And Kimmy said, well, Melody, you've been busy because your social media is like your diary to life. Girl, are you stalking her social media? If you had a life yourself, you wouldn't be so concerned with what's going on in her life. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, Tish is over there giggling because she thought it was so funny. I didn't think it was funny at all. But Tish thought it was. So then Kimmy expresses that she feels some type of way because Melody didn't invite her to her name change ceremony. And Melody said that she chose to invite the people that were in support of her name change. And she didn't want to invite those that would express negative opinions, as Kimmy will do very shortly. So Kimmy asked her a question, being very skeptical. To me, that's what I got from it. She said, well, did you getting your name changed, did it give you the closure that you needed to move on? And Melody said it absolutely did. And Kimmy responded again with skepticism, really? As if she wasn't really buying it. Well, I'm not going to say she wasn't buying it. I'm going to say that she wasn't really in support of the name change. Because Kimmy says she never wanted to be in that stereotype where her kids go to school and it's automatically assumed that the kid's last name is different from the mother's. And she thought that was very tragic. Girl, growing up, my name was the same as my mother's, but my brothers had my dad's last name. So what is she talking about? So here she's talking about this stereotype that she didn't want to be in, but at the same damn time, she is in the stereotype. So the very stereotype you don't want to be a part of, you are a part of, because Melody said, well, her son's name isn't the same as hers. Even though Kimmi used her last name as her middle name, it's still different than her son's. So make it make sense, Kimmi. You're in that stereotype. I don't think it was a big deal. It may have been back then, but nowadays it's not a big deal. And this is a very reason why Melody didn't invite her to the name change, because the negativity behind it. Okay, so in the next scene, we see Stormi and Courtney. They planned a double date with Tish and Marcel. In her confessional, Stormi says she don't like conflict, but she's very confrontational. Anytime you call a man a bitch in front of his wife, you definitely like conflicts. So girl, try again. So Tish and Marcel show up an hour and a half late. And Stormi is over it, honey. She is pissed. And that was Marcel's idea. I know it was, because he likes to be petty. That was his idea. So they sashay in. I don't recall any of them apologizing for being late. Did they even call to say they were running late? So Marcel says to Courtney that he heard from Maurice that Courtney didn't like him. And Courtney said, it's not about me not liking you, but it was very childish that you call me Mr. Steele, knowing that that's not my last name. As a man, I would never call you outside your name. And Marcel was like, that doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like selective outrage. You had a problem with me calling you Mr. Steele, but you did not have a problem with your wife calling me a bitch. And Courtney said, nope. Pretty much he supported her calling him a bitch. So Tish said being called a bitch is disrespectful. And furthermore, why are y'all still having this conversation? She thought they had already resolved it. And Stormi said to him, a real man would have said, hey, Courtney, get your wife. But instead, Marcel chooses to be petty by calling her husband Mr. Steele, instead of expressing that calling him a bitch was unacceptable. She's always trying to tell somebody else's man how to be a man. Like, yeah, we can do without her and Courtney, because she just comes off so like she has to prove that her and her husband is tough and they're about that life. Girl, we don't care. Neither does Marcel and Tish, clearly. So Tish was like, can we just retire this word? It is disrespectful. And Marcel said it's not a big deal because he chose not to ignore her and not to pay her any mind. And she said, don't do that, because that's what got a drink thrown in your wife's face. How are you going to pretend that you are a peacemaker, yet making a comment like that? No matter whether Tish and Marcel ignored Kiki, she had no right to throw that drink in her face. And the fact that you're supporting it is very telling. You do like conflict, and you're very confrontational, especially when your husband is around. That's when you really pipe up. I think that you do things like that because you try to get Marcel activated so that your husband can be activated. So if this the type time that you and your husband are on, go to Love and Hip Hop, because this ain't the show for y'all.